Just waiting here to have my computer catch up with my iPad so I can see myself. Hi, anybody who might have come on. There's a lot of people on the internet today. Here we go. At my house. So, there's a lot of people on the internet today. Here we go. All right. Hi, all. I am Wendy Keys Turnbull. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In the Finger Lakes of New York, a little town called Bloomfield. And this is my Tuesday night regular Facebook Live. This is the third time I've done it. Another new setup because my last setup broke today while I was setting up. So we're going to do what we can with this setup. Welcome. And today we're going to be playing with, well, I had it right here, but let me get it out here. This set, In the Moment. All right. I'm going to put you down to my desk already. Just know that I have typed up directions for everything that I make tonight, and I'll have them for the last 2 weeks also. If you're interested in getting the instructions, just message me on here or put it in the chat that you would like it, and I would need your email address to email it to you. Okay, so let me get you switched around and get you moved down here. Hang on just a second. All right, I had to adjust my desk, so here we go. Hopefully that's not too far from me for me to be able to work on it. Uh-oh, there we go. Move this back. Sorry about getting in the way of the camera. Okay, here we go. So, as I said, I am with Stampin' Up! I am an independent demonstrator. My email address is wendy612@frontiernet.net. And of course, my Stampin' Up! Page is there. The final week for this host code, I have my class this weekend, and then I start a new host code on Tuesday or on Monday night. So it's D2YAPNEK. And I will post a link in the comments when I'm done here. All right, so we are still working with the mini catalog, and we have a couple weeks left on the celebration brochure. So if you're interested in getting it, anything in the mini catalog or the regular catalog that you purchase, if you have a $50 purchase before tax and shipping, you are entitled to one free thing from the celebration. For every $50 that you spend, you get another free thing, or there are a couple in here that are $100. So be sure to take advantage. That is on until February 28th. Okay, so we're only going to do 2 cards today. I've been doing 3, but I've got some fussy cutting and things today, so we're going to go with just 2 cards. All right, so first of all, some monthly workshop info. This is the thing I intended to put up last week, but I hadn't taken it off of my printer. So if you're interested in attending my workshops, if you live in the upstate New York area, I would say I used to drive to Syracuse, which is an hour and a half once a month to go to workshops. So if you love it as much as I do, you will probably be willing to drive. So, okay. Let's get started. The first card we're going to make is this card. In the Moment, it's the girl with the wine glass. And these are the supply list. This is the supply list that you will need. Let me get my supplies out here. Here's the actual card. I actually also did the inside this time, but just a quick little thing. So, okay, we'll put that aside. And here we go. Hello to anybody who's watching. Pauline, welcome. I hope you're still watching. I have lots of people. Please let me know that you're here. Post something in the chat so I'm aware that you're here so I can say hi and I can see who's watching. Also, I draw a name for somebody to win some little thing, something from Stampin' Up! From me each week. I forgot to draw last week's, so I will draw that when I'm done and post that on my page as well. But let's get started here. Okay. Have everything out that I need. Why do I have... Oh, that's for the next one. Okay, so here we go. So let me just move that out of the way. And the first thing we're going to do, helps if you get out the paperwork, the craft supplies. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold. That's always my first direction. Fold your card base in half and crease it with a bone folder. Okay. Hi, Lori. Hi, Anne. Nice to see you. Welcome. Okay, so that is done. Set that aside. We're going to... Okay. Oh, no. Actually, I'm not going to set that aside. I'm going to take the Gentle Waves stamp, this stamp, and I'm going to make some sand at the bottom of this card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the denser part of the waves right here, and I'm going to ink it up with some crumb cake ink. I'm using crumb cake card base as well. All right, and I just want to do the bottom, lower, just the lower half. So I'm just going to do it right about here. I don't know that I inked the whole thing up. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, I'm going to just put a little bit more at the bottom here. I'm just going to ink up the top portion and put it down here at the bottom of the card. You can't tell, but I'm standing up at my desk. I have one of those desks that raises and lowers. And the only way I could make it so that I could do my front view was to be standing up because I couldn't get the angle correct on the camera. Okay, I do need to clean this stamp because I'm going to use it with balmy blue ink as well. So we're going to clean that up a little bit. Okay, so that's the base. Okay, now we're going to use the balmy blue cardstock, and we're going to ink this up again with balmy blue ink, the Gentle Wave stamp. Okay, now I want the more open waves this time, but I also want some of that to be on here, on the card base. So what I'm going to do, and I want it to be here a little bit, so I'm going to just lay that down up there and make sure I get it right. Put that down here. Whoops, I want it to go on the card base too. Okay. Hi, Pamela. Hope you got everything figured out. Oops, see now. Okay, so there we go. And I got a little bit of blue there, but I think I want the blue to come down a little bit lower there. So actually, I really don't have to worry about what happens on the top part of the card. So we're going to go ahead and put some more down there. And I'm going to go ahead and put some more up at the top here, but I'm going to use the denser side. Here we go. Okay, that's better. All right. You know what? Hang on just a second. Let me adjust this a little bit. I think I can make this work better for me. And pull this down a little bit here so I don't have to reach way over. Okay. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to make it look like waves are coming in on the shore. Oh, sorry about all that movement. So I'm going to just tear at the bottom here. And I do want to put a little bit of blue on there. So I'm just going to do this. There. That's better. Okay. And that's going to be attached right here. I use a lot of tape, but probably not for my Facebook Lives. Okay. All right, and then this is just going to go right up here, lining it up with the top of the card. Voila, there we go. That can go in the garbage. Okay, so there's my ocean coming on shore. Okay, I am now going to take these two cherry cobbler strips and I'm going to put them inside of my brick and mortar 3D embossing folder and make sure that I have them upright. I want them to be the sides of the building, so I want them to be upright. Doesn't really matter if they're close together or far apart. Now I like to spritz a little bit of water because I think that it gives me a better emboss. So I always put a little bit of water on them before I run them through. Okay, I just realized that I do not have my setup for my embossing folder for my machine. Hang on a second, let me grab my little envelope here of everything. All right. And there we go. Still using the same cutting pads that I was using last week. So my apologies because I know they're a mess. All right, so I just need 1 and 3. And here we go. Those in a little straighter. Okay. Make sure that you're running the seam of the embossing folder through first. Keep it from breaking, hopefully. Okay, here we go. This is a 3D and that is not going to work. So you know what? I'll be right back. I'm just going to run to my other machine here. Rather than fight with how to set that up, I have one set up for embossing 3D over here on my table. Just do that from here. Bring it back over. All right. Okay, there we go. So there's our 2 embossed pieces. Brick and mortar. Get that out of the way. Okay. So these 2 are going on here. But I'm going to leave, I'm going to use glue and I'm going to leave a little bit open here and I'll show you why when I get to that point. So gonna put some glue on here like so, and I'm gonna set it on here so that it lines up with the edges of the card. Do the other side. Whoops, already open, silly. Okay, put that over here on this end. What we've got going on here. Who else is on? Okay, so now my next step, is to stamp my main stamp, which is the woman with the wine glass. I'm going to stamp that on this white piece of paper. Let me see, will it fit this way? Yes, it will. Okay, I'm going to use Memento ink because I'm going to color her in with the blends and, wait, which am I using? Oh, I could have used StazOn because I'm using Stampin' Write markers actually, but that's okay. Okay. There we go. All right, let me just clean that off quick. Okay. So now the next thing, I think what I'll do is I will color her first quickly. All right, so the railing is going to be basic gray. So let me just get that colored in kind of far from my site. Usually I'm right down on top of it when I'm coloring, but that's okay too. Okay, and I'm going to run these railing spindles right down to the bottom of her dress because that's what I need it to be. Okay. Let me do it a little bit different than I did my sample. So my sample, she's wearing a blue dress with a yellow hat with a pink belt and a pink ribbon on the dress. I think I will do a pink dress. So this is Melon Mambo. Yes, spritzing the paper before you run it through always makes a better impression, so I like to do that. Sometimes I forget to do it too. Okay. And we're still going to give her, no, I think we'll do a blue hat. We'll do, this is Daffodil Delight. Gonna do her belt and the ribbon on her hat, which you're not gonna really be able to see with the yellow, but that's okay. We're gonna put a blue hat on her. Okay. This is actually not blue, it's Pool Party, but close enough. It's one of my very favorite colors that Stampin' Up! Has. Pool Party. I use it a lot. Okay, and of course, she's drinking, hi Bav, she's drinking Merlot, so it has to be this color, naturally. And for her body, I am using one of the new skin tone markers. This is the 600, which, let me look at my little cheat sheet here. So 600 is considered medium. And I figured she'd be tan being out here at the ocean. So she's got a little bit of a tan going on. Just told my grandsons today that if they're going to use my blends, I want them specifically to use the retired ones, but if they do use my good ones, they need to make sure they color lightly so they don't wreck the nibs on them. Okay, and her hair is going to be soft suede. Whoops, wrong end. Can't get anything done with that end. Okay. And because it's so curly, you don't really have to color it in fully. Okay, now, the part everybody dislikes. We're going to fussy cut this out. So, but it's not too difficult. Okay. You do want to make sure that you get into this little spot here. So I'm going to poke my nice paper snips in there. And there we go. And if I wasn't doing this kind of in a hurry, I would be much more careful about how I was cutting this out to make sure that you couldn't see any white or that I didn't cut in too much and take off part of the arm, which I think I did over on this side a little bit. Yep, that's all right. Okay. Up and around. It's easier if you turn the paper and just hold the scissors still. You get a little more control that way. Went too far into her hat though, oh well. Like I said, I'm not being overly careful. Okay. And being left-handed, I am left-handed, and that makes a difference how you cut too, because you want to see where you're cutting, and if I were to cut with my right hand, I wouldn't be able to see what I was doing here. All right, almost. So like I was saying at the beginning, I do draw a prize winner from everybody who comments. And it doesn't matter what you comment, just even if it's just, hi, I'm here or something like that. And I forgot to draw for last week, so I'll be doing that after I finish this tonight. And then I will wait 24 hours for people who might catch the replay and want to comment and get in on the prize drawing. So tomorrow at around 7 or 8, I will draw this week's winner. But tonight I will draw last week's winner since I totally forgot. And it's easy because I can go back and I can see who commented within the first 24 hours. So we'll see what happens. And you'll see there's a little tiny bit of white here too that I want to get rid of. Now I probably could have colored that in with crumb cake or something and made it look like it was part of the sand, but nah, I'll cut it out. It's kind of little. All right, well, there we go. Good enough since this is live. Okay. Don't know if I'm in view or not. Sorry about that if I'm not. Okay, and I could look down there and see. One more spot right here. There we go. Okay, now the bottom of this, I want to be right flat down against the card here. So I'm going to put some glue on her skirt and the railing, the little railing edges. I really like the Tombow glue. I really like the way it works. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck the railing in on each side here underneath the brick so it makes it looks like it's built into the walls. And I'm going to put her right down at the bottom of the card. All right, but I kind of want her to be 3D. So I'm going to use, if I can figure out what I did with them this time, I'm going to use my dimensionals up here on the top. Again with the black ones. There they are. Okay. I like to save my black ones for when I'm using dark colors. All right, so I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put a little one, a mini dimensional on her elbow and on the glass of wine. Okay. So mini dimensional on her elbow. And if I have to cut a piece off, I will. And a mini dimensional. I think I'm going to do a half a mini dimensional, half of an edge here on the glass of wine, because I don't want them to come off, get ripped off or anything. Ugh, that was a very bad placement. Okay. All right, so there's that. Did not come, oh well, it's down. And there we go. Okay. Next, we are going to do the sentiment strip across the top here. And I'm going to use an embossing buddy to make sure that that's cleaned up and de-static. And I'm going to use my Versamark ink. And it says, "You're in my thoughts." I'm going to try and center it on the strip as best I can. Okay. See if you can see that. You're in, oh, it's very crooked. You know what? I'm going to do the other side. Okay. This is hard to do when my hands are so far from my face. Okay. Can't tell which side was which, but I'm pretty sure this is the straight side. Okay, and I've got my white embossing powder. Yep, that's okay. Always tap the excess powder off, and I also have some little paintbrushes here to get off any extra, whoops, just part of the S. Any extra that I don't want to show up. All right, I'll grab my gun here. And I'm just going to heat it until everything melts and gets smooth and shiny. And there we go. The S is, of course, partway disappeared. Sorry about that. Oh, here we go. So I'm using my iPad tonight. The last 2 weeks I have used my phone, but the new setup won't, the phone is too small to fit in the new setup. So, okay, so this is going to go up here, but before I put it on there, I'm going to stamp a sailboat on the small part of this using Memento ink. This is from, I think it's called Come Sail Away? Sailing Home, sorry, not even close. Sailing Home, there's my sailboat, and somewhere here is the die to cut it out. Where is that? I thought I was very well organized today. Okay, well, maybe there isn't a die, or maybe I just forgot to get the die out. I'm pretty sure. Let me see here. There it is. Okay, so it's in here. This is how I set up my stamp sets. I put a piece of magnetic. This is actually from Lowe's. It's magnetic register covers, and I cut them into thirds and cut 1 inch off the top, and they fit in here perfectly. So let me run this through real quick and cut out my sailboat. Okay. Yeah, got off a little bit. It would definitely be better if I had fresh plates. Helps if you also have the base under there. Where did I put my base? It's funny because I was watching, I don't know if any of you, I know that Lori watches Mary Jo Snyder, and I watched her the other day, and I was very happy that she's a little lost right now, and her video looked very much like my videos have been looking, so she's kind of scrambling to find things. Oh, there it is. I put it inside the bin. Okay, there we go. Made me feel a little bit better about what I'm doing. It's not great, but it's okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it. I'm going to cut off. I'm going to cut off the bottom here because I want the boat to be in the water, so I don't want the water around it. And then I'm going to slice off piece of it because it's not all going to show. I may even have to slice a piece off the top. We'll see. Color it in real quick. Some Mary Merlot stripe. And then I used my white chalk pencil just to color in the sails a little bit. Can't really see it because it's on white paper, but that's okay. And then we're going to put this up here in this corner. And yeah, I am going to cut some of that off. So right about there. We're going to put that down. I see on my sample, I made a much smaller, I made much less of the boat showing. So I didn't have this piece of sail showing. But this way it looks like it's sailing past the building. And then all I need to do is put Oh, there's powder everywhere. Put this on with Mini Dimensionals. Oh, actually, you know what? I used a strip. I used a foam strip for this, but that's all right. We're going to use Mini Dimensionals this time. Okay. It's a little off the edge, but that's all right. Yes, we all know what it's like to have the craft stuff all over our table, Ann, and trying to do what you need to do and not being able to find something that's sitting right in front of your face. So that's going right up here. And then on the inside, I used Balmy Blue ink. And I used You're Always So Good to Others, Be Good to Yourself. I think that's a woman thing. Being so good to others and forgetting about yourself. Okay, so that is finished. So here's my sample, and here is my new one that I just did. I think I like her. I'm not sure which color I like better, but I like it. All right, that's number one. I'm only doing 2 today, so because I've been trying to keep it under an hour, and this will be the first time that I've been able to, I think. So, all right, let me just clear all of this stuff off that I used here so I can get the next one out. I like the next one even better, so that's why I saved it for a second. Same basic concept, a little bit different. Seems like there was one. I will keep the Memento ink out here. I think that's the ink that I needed to use on the next one. Oh, yeah, that goes for the next card. Okay. All right. Card number 2 uses one of the other girls in the stamp set. Card number 2. She's, instead of being at the ocean, she's at the mountains. So, before I get started on this, I want to show you that I made this a different way, but I wasn't thrilled with the hill. So, and I showed it to my grandson. Granted, he's only 8, but I showed it to him, and he didn't like that so much either. So I knew I was on the wrong track when neither one of us cared for it. So I decided to try it again, and I like that much better. All right. So let me put up, and you'll see the color on my printer is so bad compared to this. But let me put this up for a minute for anybody who might want to take a picture or a screenshot of the materials. And like I said, you can leave me your email address. You can private message me your email address if you're interested in getting the directions, which are actually right here. So I would send you this particular page via email. Okay, so I am using, besides the, besides the In the Moment, I am also using Mountain Air. And Nature's Beauty, I'm just using the grass here, but I needed to make sure that you knew that I was using that too. Oh, let me just go back a second. I forgot something on here. I forgot to put our little sea glass on here. So let me do that. I don't know if you can even see them on here, but they're right along the edge of the water here. You can see them in person. So I'm just going to use my take your pick. And I'm going to put a few of these littler ones on. Maybe I'll put them up on the water. Down on the, oops. Ha! That one does not want to be on this. Down in the sand. Maybe I'll put a couple right next to each other there in the sand. Let's try a different one. I can't get that one to come off. There we go. Another one. These are so cute. Just really cute bling. All right, good enough. There we go. Okay, on to the next one. I should look to see what's left on my table when I'm done to realize what I've forgotten. And I was kind of following the directions, but not trying not to look at them too much. Okay, so for this one, we are using Balmy Blue and Soft Succulent, and I think it's Harris Sand. No, Smoky Slate. Okay, so this one is a landscape side fold card, and I didn't do the inside of that one, but nope, I didn't do the inside of that one, so, okay. All right, so here we go. First step, fold your cardstock, crease it with a bone folder. Okay. Ugh, my mat's getting sticky and yucky. Okay, so we're going to use the white craft ink, and my craft ink is pretty close to being dry, but that's good. That's how I want it for this card. So, okay, that is not my white craft ink. Here we go. White craft ink. And I'm going to take my cloud, and with this, with the Mountain Air, you'll see that this is designed to use both sides of the stamp. So I'm going to use the back side of the stamp. I don't want the puffiness of the clouds. I want the solidness of the clouds. So the only bad thing about using white craft ink is it's harder to, you got to make sure you get it washed off right away. So I don't know if you'll even, oh yeah, you will. I was going to say, I don't even know if you'll be able to even see these clouds, but I can see that you will, so that's good. When I did it yesterday, you could barely see them. And I don't think I re-inked it, so. Okay, put a couple more on here. Okay. I'm just going to wave that around for a second. Crafting takes longer to dry. Let me put it out of your sight so I'm not making you dizzy. The other thing is when you use your stamping chamois on your white craft ink, you end up with a lot of white ink on your chamois. All right. That's okay because it washes out pretty well. Okay. So the next step is I didn't want it to be a bright blue sky. So I decided to use the Highland Heather ink and one of our wonderful blending brushes. I love these things. And I don't want it to be too dark, so I'm just gonna make sure, I think that might be a dry ink pad. I just wanna rub it back and forth a little bit over the clouds to give them like a purple tint. A little bit more. Okay, there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I really like the tint that it gives them. All right, so next I'm going to use the Smoky Slate ink, and I'm going to use the Mountain. Now this is the rough side of the mountain, so because I do want them to have some depth to them. So this is Smoky Slate ink. And it's not as big as the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here. And I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to just ink up the edge of the stamp and come in here and do one more over here. Good enough. Okay. Clean that one off. Now the next step is to use my tree line. There's my tree line, which is also from the Mountain Air stamp set. And I want to use the depth side of that also. And I'm going to use Evening Evergreen ink. And I'm going to put the tree line right at the bottom of the mountains. Same thing, it doesn't quite fit. So I'll do this. And then I'll put one more on the very edge here. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just clean the tree part off quickly. And I'm going to ink up just this bottom part here. And I'm going to stamp that again just below there. Okay. There we go. There. Got a nice little area there. Okay, now we're going to take the soft succulent rectangle, the big one, the one that fits here. Okay, and we're going to use Evening Evergreen ink to stamp grass all over it. Now this is, remember, the stamp from the Nature's Beauty set. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it everywhere. Oops, except I didn't mean to. Let me see if I can cover that up a little bit. There we go. Stamping off of the edges too. Doesn't really matter up there because I'll be tearing that again like I did in the other one. Okay, that's pretty good. Could have done more, could have done less. Now I'm going to tear the top edge off, and again tearing it towards me so that you have that rough edge facing up. And there we go. Yep, so that's going to go there. Okay, so then I'm going to glue this to the bottom. I could glue it, I could use my tape runner. I love my Stampin' Seal Plus. I'm not so sure about the Stampin' Seal, but I love, whoops, I love the Stampin' Seal Plus. I love the way it goes on, and I love the way it holds. So, okay. This is going down here at the bottom. You'll love it, Anne. It's a great set. I was surprised at how much I could do with it. So, okay. So my next step is to stamp my woman, and this time it's the woman with a cup of coffee. I'm going to stamp her on my thing, on my basic white ink, or on basic white paper here with my Memento ink. I know a lot of the people who come to my classes hate to fussy cut. There's one Barb, who usually watches, so when if she's not on tonight, when she's watching the replay, she'll know I mentioned her. I think she would pay somebody else to do the fussy cutting for her if she could find somebody. My goddaughter used to come, and she used to say she would do it for her. So, okay, and we're going to color her, and this time we're going to use, put these all up here. We're going to use stamp blends. So this time I absolutely needed to use the Memento. I think I've got that right, Lori, right? That you use Memento for blends. I think that's what you and Mary Jo both said this week. I was thinking it was the StazOn we were supposed to use for blends, but okay. So I want her pants to be, her jeans to be kind of faded. So I'm going to color them in. Wow, this one is really fresh. I'm just going to flip it over to the smaller nib and color the waistband a little darker, color the pocket a little darker, and go over those wrinkle lines there. I really like the way it looks when you do that. Okay, now I'm going to take my color lifter, and I'm going to fade these up a little bit. So it looks like she's wearing some nice old comfortable faded jeans. There we go. I really like how that looks too. Okay. She's not as tan as the other girl because she's in the mountains and not at the ocean. So I used the 800, which if you look at my sample list, which was here, it's buried under here somewhere. I'm not going to worry about it. The 800 is obviously a light color or a lighter color. So there's not a lot of skin, just her, oh, and her back. Got to make sure I do her back. A little bit of her back sticking out. Okay. Her feet. All right. And this is light cinnamon cider. I really like the cinnamon cider. It goes well with the jeans. Ah, good point. Mento with blends. Okay. StazOn on vellum. That's good to know. I was using StazOn for everything, and then I realized, nope, that's not what I want to do. Okay. She's got a little barrette on here, so that's going to match her jeans. She's a blonde. So this is So Saffron, I believe. Yes, I'm going to use the dark and the light to give her some highlights. Actually, I think I'll use the light first. Give her some highlights with the dark. Okay, and here we go. There. And she is drinking from a pewter, well, no, it's Sahara sand, but it kind of looks dark to me. So kind of like a pewter mug, I don't know. Okay. And then we're going to cut her out. Fussy cutting. I could have had her sitting looking out her window at this view, but I really, being barefoot, I thought she would want to be sitting out there. Now see, being left-handed, I cannot really see where the blade goes when I cut that way. I need to have it so that I can see something you right-handed people don't think about a lot. I remember kindergarten and left-handed scissors, and I've taught myself how to cut with right-handed scissors, but and these are either direction. But I always get a lump on my finger from the way I hold them when I use the wrong scissors. So, and I like Lori's idea. Lori has a different pair of scissors for sticky stuff and a different pair for ribbon, and I need to do that. I need to get myself some more of these wonderful scissors, that I need to save them for different things so that they don't, because these get gunked up. I just clean them with hand sanitizer, actually, a nice thick hand sanitizer. But it would be easier to not have to clean them at all. There we go. Just one little spot to get here between her arms and her legs. Just gotta get myself in there. Yeah, it's hard. My grandmother taught me how to knit when I was about 12. And she had to sit across the table from me and have me watch her across the table. And the weird thing is that my brain didn't pick it up left-handed. I picked it up right-handed, so I always knit right-handed. I can't knit at all anymore. It bothers my hands, my basal joints. I have arthritis. So, okay, so she's going to go on here, but she also needs a tree over here. So I'm going to use my Evening Evergreen and my tree stamp. And this is again from the Mountain Air set, and it's on the side with the detail. Stamp it on there. very clean. I'll clean it later. And I'm going to run her through the die cut machine. Using the Majestic Mountain die, I think that's what it's called, which was just sitting here. There it is. Okay, I knew it was here somewhere. Okay, get that lined up here as best I can, which is easiest if I line up the trunk of the tree first. There we go. Yeah, it is interesting how our brains work, Lori. I was the only lefty in my family. I have an uncle that's left, and my dad was sort of ambidextrous. I have one daughter who is left-handed, and I believe her kids are both right-handed. My other daughter's son isn't sure yet what he uses, but this daughter that was left-handed, there was no doubt from the very beginning that she was left-handed. If I tried to hand her something in her right hand, she would take it from her right hand and put it in her left hand. So, okay, so this is what I have. And on this card, I used the dauber, and I daubed some ink around it. But I think it probably doesn't really need that all over because it's going to be on this. I might need it up here where it's over the blue. So we'll just do that part. So just so it doesn't stand out so much, I'm just going to do it up here, just a little bit there, just to give it a little bit of an edge. All right, and this is going on the card base. I feel like this is going on the card base over here, but not completely, and it's going on with dimensionals. So I want one over here, and I'll put one here, and then I'll use a mini up here. That should be enough, I think, to keep it on the card. Okay. Make sure that I have it. Yep, okay. So, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the card, and here's where being left-handed is not a great thing because you really can't come at it from the other side. Okay. There we go. All right, let's put her in her spot on the other side of the card. Also with dimensionals being popped off the page. Stuck to my finger. Here, and I think I'll use a little one at her feet, at her ankles. Okay. Oops, and I need something on her cup as well. So we'll just cut a little one, put that on the cup. I can see it goes over, so we'll trim it. Here we go. Going to sit right over here looking at those mountains. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is we need to put a sentiment on her. Oh no, we have to put a whole big sentiment on her. This is the part that takes work. So okay, so you'll see on here that I did the sentiment in 4 different sections. So this is how I did it. I took the blue, and I took, well, on here I used the smoky slate, but I like how the green showed up better. So we're going to switch to green on this one. Oh, and I almost forgot also. Let me put my birds on real quick here. Got my little flying birdies here. Oh, I used black because I noticed that they didn't show up very much. Let's see. Not bad. I'm shocked, but okay. There we go. Birds only fly in 3s, by the way, in packs of 3. Okay, so Now we're going to take, okay, here is the sentiment we're using. I'm going to try and just ink up sometimes the most, but you'll see that I got a little bit of it there. And I really don't want it to show up. So I'm going to take a piece of Post-it, and I actually have Post-it paper that's all Post-it, but I'm too lazy to go dig it out. So we're going to just use a Post-it note. And I am going to cover up the lower part. And hopefully I'm going to get this right. All right. Just to make sure. There, whoops, nope. Didn't work that time. Okay. You know what the better idea is? I'm going to put this on here while I'm inking it up. This will work better. Take the stamp off. And stamp. There we go. And I'm going to trim that, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so that is the top line. The next line is done on Smoky Slate. Okay, I'm going to take my paper again. And I don't care if both lines come out on this one. So I should probably use tape sticky spot. The problem is that this paper is old and the sticky isn't so great anymore. So I'm going to do this. Take that off. I'm going to put this, actually, you know what? Up there. Okay. So I have sometimes the most, and I have productive thing. All right. And then the next one is on my soft succulent. And what I want is, you can do is relax. So let's put this here. This up. Hopefully I won't push it too hard. Let's do it again. Don't mind where I wrote sentiment. That's to remind me what each piece was for. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and not even worry about this. I remember that the relax didn't fill in very well, so okay. All right. There we go. Now, I tried several different ways to cut these and make them be even and make them look good. And the best thing I found was to take my ruler, one that you can see through. And so I want you can do and relax. But I do not want, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the ruler with the bottom of you can do is. And I'm going to take a pencil. And I'm going to draw a light line right here between the two. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the top part of you can do is, because I want to cut a nice even strip. So there we go. So I'm going to cut on those pencil lines and then I'm going to erase them. And you know what? I better put one at the bottom of relax so I can get that cut out nicely too. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I don't think I'm totally in the camera here. There we go. Okay, relax. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with both of these, just so I'm sure that I get exactly what I need. And it's best to do it at the top and the bottom and not just, you know, turn the paper over and line up with the bottom. Okay, and then this one. So I'm going to go to the bottom of the sentence and draw a line. And I'm going to go to the top and draw a line. Okay. Then I'm going to take my trimmer, bring that over. I'm going to line those pencil marks up. You know what? I'm going to cut this end off so that I can line the pencil marks up here and here. So now let me put it up here so you can see it. So I'm going to line it up in the groove there and in the groove there. Make sure I get it right. And I can already tell that this was at an angle. Okay. And I'm going to cut there. And then I'm going to turn it around. And this is a little more difficult because it's such a tiny little strip. So I'm going to be really careful to get it lined up and to keep it in place while I close. And I want to go that way with my cutter just to be safe. You can also tell that it's in the center. There we go. Sometimes the most. Oops. Sometimes the most. And I did cut it off a little. I'm going to trim it on each end. So it's harder to do. I'm going to pull this towards me. Okay. Let me just, you know what? Let me just slice off the end here real quick. Okay. And over here. So I can line those pencil lines up in the gutter here. Okay. In the groove. That is that. Okay. And then on the other end. And oops. Yeah, that's okay. All right. That is a tiny strip. And then the last ones. Actually, I could leave, no, I really can't leave a little extra space on Relax because I can't leave it on the top. Now, if I wanted to print both of those, and I didn't really get that up there high enough, but if you look through here, nope, it's not going to do it. And look through here, you can see now it's centered. Okay, so Relax is done. Now we'll do this part. There. Okay. Oops, stuck right to it. Lots of glue there. Okay. Where did my blue? There it is. Okay. So obviously these are tiny. There's no way I'm going to be able to tape them. So I am going to glue them. And I'm going to use a pair of tweezers to hang on to them while I'm gluing them. I have some that lock. Only I don't see them in here, so it must be somebody's been using them. We'll just use these. Okay, so the first one is sometimes the most... Oh, somebody's been playing with my tweezers. Okay. Okay. Ooh, that's more than I wanted, but that's okay. Sometimes the most in the blue, and when that's dry, I'm going to go over it with the purple a little bit like I did over the clouds. The next one, Productive Thing, is on Smoky Slate because it's going to go in the mountains. Productive Thing. Forgot to erase the pencil marks, but that's okay. Actually, it kind of works with that one. You can do, and I forgot to trim that one too, but that's okay. You can do is. Okay. And that's going on the trees. And I probably should have put that one down a little lower so that they are kind of even with each other. Relax. Okay. Before I can put Relax on, you'll see I have a little piece of ribbon under it. So let me grab the ribbon right there. Cut a little piece off. I'm going to put it on the back of here with some tape. Stuck to my fingernail. Okay. I'm going to trim this one to look like that side. That's a little better. All right. Actually, I think it needs a little bit more of an angle. My goodness. Okay. And then I'm going to use dimensionals to put this on. 1 and 2 should be plenty. And there we go. And actually, you know what? I think I did. No, I didn't. I think to make that step stand out a little more, I probably should have edged around Relax with the Evening Evergreen ink. But I didn't. That's okay. Wendy original, as I say. Okay. So that's it. And I didn't put anything on the inside of this because I thought that would be a nice little card to write a message to somebody, write your own message to somebody. So here's the sample, here's the original. They're almost exactly the same. And of these, sample original and what I just made with the inside. This one that I showed you that I didn't like as much, so I redid with this one. Ezra and I decided that this was the wrong shade of green, and we liked the Soft Succulent much better. So, okay. Here's one other card. We made this card last month in my stamping workshop. So I just wanted to show you, this is the third set, the third woman in the set. So I did one with each of them. And I did several of these, and I did different colored blanket and different colored socks and everything, and then on the inside. And this is using something whimsy die cut to just cut the little tracks around the outer edge of it. And then I used corner punch, the trio punch, this punch right here, this one right here, to do all of the corners. And I offset the mat to the side so that I could put the bling down the side. So, and that has the denim ribbon. So that's it. That's all I've got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself, and I hope you'll come back next Tuesday. One thing I did want to mention, so Lori and 2 other demonstrators in the same group that I'm in are having a special fundraiser for a woman who was also in our group who passed away, and her daughter is still in the group too. And so on February, let me find the sheet I printed out here somewhere. Here it is. Creating Sunshine in honor of Sandy Carbone. And the class will be on Facebook Live February 26th, starting at 10 a.m. And for $50, you will get, I believe it's 15 bundles, correct me if I'm wrong, Lori, and in the mail. And then you can go on the Facebook Live and do things with them. And I've signed up for this. Out of the 50, 25 is being donated to the Bumpus House, which is where Sandy was in her last days of her life. So she was a wonderful lady. Her daughter is fantastic. I spent a weekend with them. When I first joined up, I went right to the on stage, the convention in Orlando. It was their 35th anniversary, 30th anniversary. I can't remember which, but we had so much fun. We had the best time, and I'm so glad that I got to know her. So if you're interested, you can contact Lori or Mary Jo or Lisa. If you need information on how to contact them, just let me know and I will hook you right up with them. So hope that was okay, Lori, for me to mention that, but I just think it's such a great thing, such a great cause, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, okay, y'all, I will I will do the drawing for last week, and then tomorrow night I'll do the drawing for this week, and I will post it here on my page. Have a great week, everybody. I enjoyed seeing you. Some of you who are watching this replay, maybe, I will see you this weekend for our February card class. I'm really looking forward to that, too. Great.